Welcome to the Trail Network podcast hosted by Rachel Drake, myself, Leah Yingling, Hilary Yang, and Katie Asmuth. We're here to celebrate the community and connections within trail running. And today it's me and Hilary, and we have a lot to catch up on, Hill.
Feels like a lot's happened, and I'm sorry to our listeners we skipped last week. We honestly did try. Leah and I tried about 4 different times, and it was pretty much my fault for just being like dead and still at Cocodona and then traveling back from Cocodona. And then it was Mother's Day. It was just like a lot going on, you guys.
It was a whole thing.
Anyways,
I don't know
here we are.
how you would have fit that in with your Cocodona participation and commentary. There's not enough hours in a day.
It was so funny. So, I mean, one of the things we can talk about later too is like my film coming out next weekend now. And Carrie Hyman, my co-director, and I were like, oh yeah, we'll meet up and we'll bang out all these like little like to do things, in between my broadcast stuff. And I brought my computer and I brought everything. It just did not even happen. Like halfway through the week, I just started laughing at the thought that I was going to like actually work on all this other stuff because it was so consuming. I was like, oh, that's cute. Same with the podcast, Leah. I was like, oh, well, I get off at 3 and then we could record after that. And I ended up being in the studio till 9 p.m. that night. And I was like, well, so much for that.
We tried.
Yeah, we did try. Anyways, it was really fun just being out there. And I mean, maybe that's where we start because it was so all consuming, but did get some lovely just conversations and connections with people that listen to the pod. And honestly, like it every single time it makes my day. So please, if you see any of us, like come up to us and tell us you listen, because when we're recording, you sometimes think, oh, we're just like talking into the void, or you just, I don't know. It's like really, really nice to sort of be reminded of the people, the wonderful people on the other end of our podcast who we get to, I don't know, get to know in different ways, or you guys get to know us at least. But yeah, it's awesome, right?
Yeah, it really is. And I think the greatest compliment we can ever get is when people tell us that they have us in their ears on a long run. Like I know when I go on a long run, I'm either catching up with my best buds or I just want to feel like I'm hanging out with someone. So yeah, I always love meeting people that way. And Hill,
Yeah.
you had a big announcement right before you went to Cocodona.
It's been a busy couple of weeks, you guys. Yeah, so surprise, I'm pregnant. If you didn't see that pop out on social media, which friends, kind of explains some of my maybe lackadaisical attitude towards training the last few months. Let's put it that way. My Strava strike for the first couple months of the year, which was mostly fueled by the fact that literally existing made me nauseous, and jiggling my like head or trying to run made me more nauseous, and running in LA when all you do is smell dog pee smells was just like the worst. So I basically just like abandoned it. Did a lot of walking and a lot of hiking, and then I've introduced running in the last few months, but it's not linear. Leah, and I'm sure like you found that too. Like I've gone through spurts in the last couple months where I actually feel a lot better now, which is great. And thank God, because I don't think I would have gotten through Cocodona. But it's also like super humbling because I feel like one day I'm totally fine. And then the next day I've got crazy like back pain and I just have to pee the whole time. And I end up just like slowing to a walk because it's way more comfortable.
Totally.
Like it just
And so you're past 20 weeks now. So you're over the hump, over halfway.
almost 22 weeks. I know. I got a bump going on, guys. It just popped. It was like the second we made that announcement,
That's
it was
timing.
like, boing, now we're here.
I think anybody that's ever been pregnant can relate. It's really nice once you do start showing that you're pregnant. You're like, you either want to have a bump or just like, let's just not look pregnant at all. There's no really in between. So
totally
it's nice once you get to that point.
yes. Yes, I feel like the last 2 months all I've done is complain to Billy. I'm like, my pants don't fit, nothing fits, but I just look like I put on a bunch of weight. This sucks. Like,
I like what you said though about like the fact that things can get better. I often felt in pregnancy, and I think a lot of people can relate that, you have these periods where you think you're just going to exist in that state for the next, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, but it can get better. It can also get a little worse, but I'm happy to hear that, what you experienced in the first trimester has hopefully kind of settled down and now you're into the better feeling second trimester.
Totally. I mean, I was laughing because you were one of the first people that knew actually at Black Canyon because we hadn't told anybody, but then here I was doing commentary at Black Canyon, but I was super nauseous and I had to pee every hour. So I remember being like, "Hey Leah, so this is the situation. I'm 10 weeks pregnant right now. And this is gonna be a bit of a disaster being on the mics for, like, 8 hours straight." So you were amazing. There were so many times in the broadcast, guys, where you didn't even realize that Leah was just doing a monologue so that I could, like, sprint to the porta potty, and then the porta potty would make me super nauseous, and I would be, like, dry heaving my way back.
Like, there's no way I'm surviving this day.
There was a lot of layers to that broadcast commentary.
There
And
always
you were
is.
pumping at one
I
point
was. I was like,
under the table.
we are just this we've got so much
We're a
going
pair.
on.
But I also love it, and I think, and obviously, like, this isn't just a pregnancy podcast, even though 3 out of the 4 of us have gotten pregnant in the last year, but I would just like to say, I think it's really awesome to see all of us navigating it and also still living our lives and doing such cool things, and that's why, like, I love being able to talk about it on the podcast now. I was really excited to be able to talk about it. And I just think, like, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman or where you are in life, I think appreciating what we can do and that we can do it all. And
Mm.
it might look different, but like, just I think being more aware of, the fact that like life is complex. We have different stages, but it doesn't mean that everything has to stop.
100%. And that makes me think just recently, Craig Thornley reached out and wanted me to write a feature piece for the Western States program on the pregnancy deferral that they offer because they see people taking it, but they never actually like see it playing out in
Hmm.
real life and like what that looks like behind the scenes. So I finished this up actually on Mother's Day. I was finished writing it and it was really cool to reflect on just the value of these deferrals and what they do mean for the athletes. Like I think oftentimes you look at it on the surface and you're like, great, I can like skip a year or two and like come back. But in actuality, it looks different for every single person that's ever taken it. And I think one of the most shocking things that I saw was I think the pregnancy deferral at Western States, for example, was instituted in 2018 and then revised in 2021 to become a lifetime deferral. And I think only like 13 women have taken it since it was instituted, which was a lower number than I thought.
Wow.
And of those
Hmm.
13, I think 4 have returned to Western States and actually used it. So there's still 9 in that limbo period of still needing, to take their spot back.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I mean, totally. And I think for me, looking ahead, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, next year I wanna run UTMB," you know?
Mhm.
But you don't know until you sort of go through it all, like, what it's gonna look like, and I think, for you and Rachel, it's amazing that you guys have been able to come back and feel good and train again, but also, like, there's not a guarantee, and it's, like, something you just hold loosely, and maybe for a lot of women, like, having the option of
Mhm.
coming back to Western States is just, like, something that is, like, this beautiful thing you get to hold on
Yeah,
to, but it's also okay if, like, life takes you in different directions, it doesn't mean it's, like, less than or you somehow, like, didn't finish what you started, it's just,
exactly.
like, it's there if you want it, but also, like, who knows what you're gonna want.
Exactly, yeah, and I do think
So, I can't wait to write your
yeah, it
piece.
was really fun, and I think our sport has evolved a lot over especially the last 5 years of working towards policies like pregnancy deferrals at races and, like, supporting women in aid stations with whether that's pumping or menstrual cycle, support, just a lot of options and opportunity for women. I think there's still a long ways to go in, kind of the parity in this sport, but I think we're getting there in a lot of ways, and we're talking about it more too.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I think us sharing our experiences, just, like, general awareness, general support from our community helps all of us and makes all of us, like, more able to keep doing these things, so
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it was fun. We announced the pregnancy, and then Billy ran me walk. Had a bit of a rough day, wasn't quite his day. He pulled the plug at 80K
Oh.
into the 100K, which was a bummer, but honestly, he had a lot of peace about it, and so therefore, I did too.
Yeah. Oh.
It's been a while since he's done 100K, and I think there was just, like, a bunch of factors and an unfortunate, like, pre-race whacking of the shin that was pretty rough a couple days before, and just sometimes life happens and, you know? So it was one of those ones where it was fun to be out with the community, would have loved to see him finish, but also, like, was super proud of him for running a really good 80K and then also, like, knowing when it was no longer serving him.
100%, and I think sometimes those are the best decisions, looking back, is recognizing when you just don't need it.
Yeah. We had a lot of things to look forward to, especially with going straight from Miwok to Cocodona. I still managed to get another round of poison oak though, and I don't know how because I wore high socks and I wore pants and I stayed in the aid stations and I didn't go out on the trails except for like 20 feet. And somehow, like right where I had the first round on my ankles, I got another round of poison
I
oak,
think the poison
which
oak
has been
finds
driving me nuts
you.
this week. I think it does. I think I'm at the point where I'm so allergic and so sensitive that it just like flares up again.
Oh, man.
Terrible. But yeah, we, finished the race. Well, he ran on Saturday, and it was one of those, like, you wake up at 1:30 AM in order to, like, get to the start line type of
Mhm.
days. Ran the race, and then the next day we drove 13 hours to get all the way to Arizona. Because it turns out there's no shortcut from San Francisco to Arizona. You have to go back to LA, and then you go east, which is really, really unfortunate and was, like, really soul-sucking.
Oh, man.
I
That's
know.
wild. That's further than I thought, and I did not know you guys did all of that.
Sure did. We got in late Sunday night, and I had a call time of 4 AM on Monday morning when Cocodona started, and that kicked off our week.
So, Hillary, I wanna say, did you, like, debut at commentary last year at Cocodona as a field reporter?
Field reporter, yeah. Black Canyon was my first sort of, like, studio thing, I guess, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty fun," and so then they asked me to come out to Cocodona, I did the field commentary, and that was, like, such a fun one. People kept coming up to me all year, actually, at races, even at Miwok this year, just saying how much they enjoyed it, and I think it's because I have such a history with 200
Yeah.
milers, and also I was race directing one last year. Like, it was for me, it's sorta like I really get that world, and so I think people really enjoyed that, so I definitely jumped at the chance to come back this year, and it ended up being like a crazy busy week with all the field commentary, and then I did a bunch of the interviews and studio stuff, and I just was, like, loving it, and I had a lot of energy, and I feel like it just sort of it was so freaking inspiring to be around too that I was just, like, so stoked all
Yes.
week.
Yeah, and I think the race played out in such a way, I mean, you can't talk about Cocodona this year without talking about Rachel's epic performance, and I'm sure you got to talk about it all week long. What for you was a highlight of being on the commentary side of it and watching what went down?
Yeah, I think I just like, I really got to know Rachel last year when she ran the Mammoth. Katie Asmuth and I helped her do some training runs and shuttled her around the course, and I just really saw how much work she put in. And for all of the just, like, she shows up and is so, like, carefree, she really puts in a lot of work, and I think I just gained a lot of respect for her as an athlete and a competitor and knew that she wasn't going into this lightly
Yeah.
and also knew that she had gained a lot of confidence this last year, so I was just so excited. But then I do have to admit, like, when I woke up on like, I slept a few hours on Monday night and Tuesday night, and each time I'd wake up and check the tracker with this feeling of, like, "Oh my gosh, are you still in the lead? Like, please still be in the lead," because it just felt like this incredible story, but also we've seen in these races how things can go sideways at any point, and I just felt like I was holding my breath for her for so long during the race, you know?
Oh,
Even though and totally knew she could do it, but it still was just, like, such an incredible thing. I was
yes.
like, "I just want you to do it so badly."
Yes, it was amazing to see and just witness from home following along and watching drone footage of her, any video footage of her just chugging along at a pace that I really couldn't fathom running 50 plus hours into a race, and you could just tell she wanted it so bad, and I feel
Mhm.
like her finish just was one of those pinnacle performances in our sport that is going to be the gateway for a lot of people finding ultra running. Like, I think Cocodona and Rachel have, like, broken out of just ultra running in the last week. It's reaching just complete mainstream, and I think it's a really cool thing for the sport.
It's actually insane. One of my favorite little things was getting to help pull together a piece for Good Morning America and ABC News,
All that.
they reached out to another photographer, Summer Kreisman, And I think because they, like, knew her from another project, and they basically said, like, "We're following Rachel's race. How do we kinda get this going?" And Summer brought it to me and was like, "I don't even know where to start." So Jamila and I'd ended up, like, pulling together footage and all this stuff, and I ended up doing a little interview with Good Morning America because 'cause I'd been talking about Rachel all week. And the producer sent me a message yesterday, and she was like, "It's reached 8 million views on social media."
That is so wild.
And that's just one.
Oh,
And then there was ESPN, there's an like, I can't probably say, but there's a few more, like, things coming out that I know Rachel did interviews for. There's been so much, like you said, mainstream attention that it's, like, really one of those moments where it transcended what we do in our little, like, niche.
yes.
And I think it's, like, the combination of, like, 250 miles, first of all, like, people are still like, "What? Like, you ran that far?" And then the concept of a woman winning overall because it just doesn't happen
Mhm.
in other sports, and I think it's such a cool conversation starter because then people start being like, "Well, how? Why? Like,
Yes.
how does this work?" You know?
Yeah, and I think what is unique too is, I mean, Rachel is an open book, and she has been
Mm.
extremely open to a lot of the conversations pre-race, post-race, and just being open to the interviewing. And she had commented today, I think, that she's put in more time now in these post-race interviews than she did on her feet during Cocodona. And that speaks to
Totally.
just Rachel's relatability too, and just being open to providing her experience to other people and just not she's just yeah, she's transparent, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, her Strava's an open book, her, like, Precision crew were just, like, ready to talk to me. It was really awesome to see, and I think it's, like, everyone's got a different way of approaching it, and I
Yeah.
totally respect athletes that keep things locked down or feel like they don't wanna share everything. Rachel's just, for whatever reason, decided that she's comfortable with that, and it is really fun, like you said, Leah, to get some insight into just what it took to get her here. But also, like, I think that still doesn't even capture
Mhm.
all the, like, years of work that have, like, built towards this too, you know?
Totally. Yeah, and I think that's something I hope people outside this sport gain too. It's really easy to, see what is now going to be a mainstream, like, 250 miler, and I don't think Cocodona has any qualifiers for it necessarily, like, not a 100-mile qualifier at least, and
Just the lottery that's getting harder and harder to
yeah,
get in.
and I'm curious what impact that will have on newcomers to the sport signing up for a race like Cocodona because, this was Rachel's 3rd time there, and she's had good races there in the past, but has just gotten better and better over the years and has planned, like you said, so much for these.
Yeah. No, it's so much fun. Also, like, while I'm thinking of it and staring at it, little plug for Precision. They are our nutrition sponsor, and I'm holding their new watermelon chew, which I think you also got your hands on, Leah, but they debuted it at Cocodona. I think Rachel and Tyler had it ahead of time at Madeira. It's so good.
It's
It's really, really
it's
good.
so good. It's their new flavor of the 30 gram, and Rachel had a really hilarious kind of promo around this going into Cocodona. But for our listeners, if you haven't consumed it yet, Precision did this feature on Rachel's nutrition during Cocodona, and it was mind blowing. They put out a post today that is the trajectory of her nutrition over the course of 250 miles. And I mean, she ranged anywhere from like 35 grams of carbs an hour upwards of 75 grams of carbs an hour in some of the kind of like hotter paced sections of the day, which is mind blowing for a race that long.
Insane. And they were weighing everything that came out of her pack at the aid stations, like, the dedication to getting those numbers was awesome. Like, Emily, the sports scientist on the team, who I believe we're gonna have on our podcast at some time, which is great because she's such a fascinating person and has so much information. But I was chatting with her, and she would literally pull out all the wrappers and all the sticky stuff and weigh exactly how many grams of that chew Rachel actually
Yeah.
ate, and so those numbers are, like, pretty accurate, and yeah, to consume that diligently for that long is really hard. Like, I think that's where I would really struggle because you just kind of are overeating
Yep.
after a while.
Exactly, and, something that Rachel and Emily had talked about pre and post race was Rachel's salt needs going into the race. So she's a very salty sweater. I think they were saying something upwards of like 1,500 milligrams an hour, which is very salty. I'm getting a sweat test in a couple weeks here in Salt Lake City, and I know Rachel just got one. Rachel Drake just got one this past week, and I asked her what kind of sweater she is. She's like, "I'm just pretty moderate." But I think what I appreciate about hearing these varieties of numbers and experiences is it's not one size fits all. And I think that's very important for runners and athletes to understand the personalization of their nutrition plan. It's really easy to see what runners like Rachel are doing. David Roach, you see what he's doing oftentimes in his training. He really high carb intake. But I think everybody is a unique person and needs to figure out what does work for them. And I really appreciate seeing kind of this like wide range of experiences in our sport. So I hope newcomers to the sport too don't think that they need to follow anybody's one specific plan and kind of like troubleshoot over the runs and over the years for themselves.
Yeah, that's a good call out, and I do think it's very easy to be like, "Oh, I'll just copy what Rachel is doing." But yeah, to your point, Leah, like you don't know, you probably have an idea of what type of sweater you are, but like it's really interesting. I know Billy had the sweat testing done a few years ago and totally adjusted all of his sodium levels because of that. And so it's super like helpful information
Mhm.
to have. And yeah, it's so individual. But yeah, I mean, certainly at a race like Cocodona, we saw nutrition just be a huge make or break for people. And I saw a lot of people trying to shove food in their mouths at aid stations and with mixed degrees of success. And, it's sort of fascinating. I was constantly going over and being like, what are you eating over here? What are you eating? There's a lot of oatmeal. I don't know why
Yeah, that was
oatmeal was
pretty
like
shocking
popular.
to me because oatmeal
Yeah, I
is
know.
not something that would be my go-to in a race like that. I saw mashed potatoes and I agreed, like, yes,
Yeah,
mashed
that's
potatoes,
the classic.
10 out of 10,
Yeah.
but oatmeal kind of
There's burgers, there was pancakes, there was yeah, I don't know, just like a wide variety of stuff. I find it fascinating. As someone that really struggles with eating and nutrition in races, I'm always like, tell me more. Help me be better at this.
Did you get
But yeah, I mean,
did you get the bug for
what?
wanting to do a 200 yourself after?
No. Okay, dude, if I can get through race directing a 200 and still not have the bug, like I think I count now. I've been involved in 18 of these 200-mile races. So I
So
have
many.
been to a lot of them. I have been to a lot of 200-mile finish lines, you guys. I've seen a lot. You know what I love about it? I love the journey.
Mm,
I love being part of the journey. I think it's incredible. There's for sure a part of me that's like, "Oh, I wonder how I would do," or just
mhm.
like, intrigued by it, but mostly I just love seeing people push themselves and come out the other side and the sort of arc that you get after these multi-day events. And I never feel FOMO. I just really enjoy being part of it and like helping. If anything, I just love like storytelling around it and finding ways to like bring people in.
Yeah, it's really
But
unique,
yeah.
and I think especially the women's field this year, Cocodona was awesome, and I think
Mm.
seemed like everybody had their own very specific journey out there, especially at the front of the pack, and I'm sure well into the back of the pack as well, but I think one of my favorite storylines to follow was Heather Jackson's first 200,
Oh gosh.
and she looks like she went through it out there.
We need to get Heather on the
That
podcast.
would be
I
awesome.
feel like we haven't had Heather on yet. I'm gonna see if once she's recovered, she'd be interested in coming on because man, yeah, she had a fascinating race and executed an incredible
Mm,
race for the first like 230 miles, I'm gonna say, running in second place. She and Courtney were high-fiving and hugging as they were going out and out of aid stations. Like they were very close, but they were running their own races. She was just like so on it. She had her sister out there pacing
yeah.
her. She had like her husband said it was like the most fun she'd ever had at a trail race. Like she was truly having a blast right up until she wasn't.
Oh, Heather.
And yeah, that was definitely hard to see. The sleep demons I think caught up with Heather and that last section where they go up Mount Eldon by themselves. It's like I don't know, between 5 to 7 hours where you're not seeing your crew. And if you're sleepy, I think that was like a huge make or break for people. I mean, we saw it give Courtney wings. Courtney just like flew over
I
Eldon
just
and
saw the drone
that's where
footage of that today because I think I missed that, when they it was live, but that was she was moving
mhm.
so well, it was, like,
Fastest in the field, I think. Yeah,
crazy.
she really flew down it. And that's really tough terrain, it's huge steps, it's very technical. But then, I think for Heather, when you get that sleep deprived where you cannot keep your eyes
Mm,
open, where you're, like, physically ill,
mhm.
it just, like, it's very, very hard to come back from that without an actual reset,
Oof,
and, that's what she ended up having to do.
man, just
Yeah. 4 miles from the finish line, you
Kudos
know?
to everybody that finished Cocodona. I do think it was a great
Yeah.
weather year out there, great conditions, but anybody
Yeah.
that can finish Cocodona or any of these 200 miles, I'm impressed.
Totally. I mean, it's so much fun. I mean, just seeing the people come in all week, like my friend Tyler ran his first Cocodona and he finished like a whole day faster than he thought he would, which is awesome. They had their Airbnb booked till Sunday and he finished Thursday night. It was
It's
incredible.
cool that that
So I
can
got to go
happen
out
in
of
a
the
race.
studio and see. Yeah, totally.
I finished one whole
It could be
day.
like this wildly different experience. But yeah, like really, really fun to
Oh,
see
yeah.
all just like the variety of stories. Yeah, it's a cool race, guys. I don't know. It's sort of its own beast at this point. Like I do feel like it's kind of standing out in the world of 200s. It's just like a bit of a folklore
Mhm.
adventure thing, right? In the way that like maybe Leadville captured people's imagination or Moab
Yeah.
did after Courtney won it, or these races that transcend our sport. A lot of it is like because they reached the mainstream, which
Mhm.
Cocodona did this year. So I do think, Leah, that there's going to be a shift maybe in the people that are interested in running it, for better or
Yeah.
worse. I don't know. Jamil, if you're listening, you might want to consider a qualifier
I know. I think
because it's going to get interesting.
I think it will.
But yeah, it's just like definitely fun. Yeah, I was riding a high when we got back from that and just stoked for I don't know, for all the women having a moment right now too. Like it feels like we've been building towards this
Mm,
for a long time and we've seen incredible race performances, but then when you get one that just like objectively like she smashed the men's course record, she won overall, it just sort of reminds us of like where the limits are, which is like who knows, you
yeah,
know?
they do not exist, and it's really cool
Yeah.
just to see Rachel especially, like, not put any limits on herself because that's something I struggle with. It's really easy to kind of set a bar in your head of what you think you're capable of, but
Mm.
I think yeah, we don't see what we're capable of until we just remove that bar entirely, and I think she was definitely evidence of that.
Yeah, and I would like to say, just like last note on Cocodona, because I know we've all been Cocodona'd out. There's been a lot of coverage. But on that note, I think the thing that I was most proud of Rachel for and the thing that I most loved seeing was that from the beginning, she went out and she looked forward and she didn't look back. She didn't look around. She didn't look at anybody else's race. She just ran her own race. She happened to run the best race out there.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of that was because she wasn't trying to like compare
Mm,
herself to anyone else. And she truly just went out with the belief that she could do something
yeah.
amazing and just like set herself to it. And that was like really cool to see because I think so often we are either racing each other or we are looking around and comparing. And maybe we're like, oh, I'm going too fast. Like I might, maybe I'll blow up. Like I should slow down. But she just like ran without fear and just like, that was, I don't know if that came across, Leah, like to you guys watching, but to me, I was just really struck
Yeah,
by that.
that's a great point. It reminded me a lot of, Sabrina Stanley, I think her last UTMB, she had told her crew she doesn't wanna know where she is in the field, men's or women's field, at all throughout the day, and she hammered the last, I wanna say, like, the last probably 20 miles of the race and was passing woman after woman after woman, and she crossed the finish line, and she just looked up at her crew, and she had no idea what place she was, and the first things out of her mouth were, "What place am I?" She's like, "I could have been 2nd place." She goes, "I knew I wasn't 1st place, but I could have been 2nd place or, like, 20th place. I had no idea." And I just love that. It was running
What did she finish that
she
year?
was 7th.
Yeah,
And it was
that's
cool because
awesome.
I was like, "That's actually not a bad idea," because I think often you're just completely judging yourself, judging your position off of who's around you and what your position is, and I know something I always tell myself, and I need to knock it out of my head, but when I'm in this, like, pretty solid position in a race, like, "Oh, I'm in the top 10, that's still good, let's just hang out here." It's really easy to
Mhm.
just sit there and get complacent rather than chasing 1 or 2 more spots ahead of you because you can and you're capable of it.
Not even 1 or 2 more spots in front of you, but also just being curious about what you can
Mhm.
do and, like, not sort of backing off of that,
Yes.
and I think that's Rachel was, like, not sitting on her laurels because she was first. She
Mm-mm.
was still chasing the clock or herself or, like, I don't know, whatever was motivating her to just, like, give it everything. But yeah, yeah. A lot of, like, cool lessons there for sure, and
Definitely.
you do see them on this, like, heightened scale when you're running for so long. We've got a lot of time to analyze
Yeah,
the performances, right?
so many days.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, feels like that was a lot of fun. That was so busy, and then I'm home for a week, and then we kind of pack up and head to Western States training camp and debuting our film finally,
Yes, tell
guys,
us
which I'm
about
really
that.
excited about. Well, Sunday night, May 24th, we are going to be at the Regal Theater in Auburn. Hoka's rented that out for us. And we're going to be putting out an RSVP. It's free
Nice.
on Thursday. You can sign up. That'll go out on social media. You can find it on my social media, and I'm sure we'll post it wherever we can. But yeah, super excited. It's a 90-minute film. It's a feature length film, which again is sort of crazy. I didn't intend to make a full length documentary, but we had a lot to say apparently. And it feels very timely right now just to be exploring the idea of like what women are capable of and the collective rise of women and how that's pushing the sport forward, which is basically the thesis of my film. And so yeah, really, really excited and proud of it. And it's really fun to be able to bring it to everyone. And if you can't be at training camp weekend, I forgive you, and we will show it at Western States. We're working on sort of like a venue and an idea for where to show it during the week there. And then after that, we're still again deciding and figuring out like where it'll live online and all those things.
Ugh.
So it'll just kind of continue to roll out, but we obviously want as many people as possible to see it, but we also really want to maximize the in-person moments and just like yeah,
Oh,
take our
I'm
time.
so excited. I wish I could be at training
Yeah,
camp. Maybe I'll find my way to training camp. I was just telling somebody a week or 2 ago, like, "Man, I love it. I love training camp. Even when I'm not racing Western States, I still wanna be there every single year because it's so much fun."
totally. I did it as a hard rock training last year. Is it the terrain for hard rock
No.
training? No, but it was like super fun.
It's like the only way you can, like, get me to do a training camp style weekend is when I'm surrounded by 200 of my
Yeah,
friends.
it's great. You get to run 75 miles in 3 days. That's pretty good.
That's so cool. I honestly think
More than
there's
my
as
mileage.
I'm following people who are running Western States this year on Strava, I feel like everybody is running just 100 miles in 3 days right now. This is like peak training camp style weekends for a lot of the athletes, and it's
Yeah,
breaking my brain.
seriously. Do you have any FOMO, Leah? Or are you happy to be looking forward to UTMB right
Funny you
now?
asked that. I think Caleb had asked me something similar the other day, and I don't think about Western States for most of the year, and then Canyons rolls around, and all of a sudden, I wanna do Western States again, and I don't feel that way for, yeah, 90% of the year, but this year, I don't feel too bad about not running this year. However, yeah, I keep doing these runs, and I'm like, "Dang it, I feel like I could have been in half decent shape for Western States this year,"
You're
but
feeling pretty good.
can't can't
Yeah.
can't think that way. I'll be back some year in the future.
Well, you've got that pregnancy
Yep,
deferral.
lifetime, it's beautiful.
I mean, I've seen some great runs on Strava. Like, you definitely look like you're ramping up and you're fitting it in
Yes.
despite Mike traveling, despite all the other
No.
things that you're juggling.
I'm having a lot of fun. We have daycare, which is extremely helpful, for balancing, full-time work, Mike's travel, and getting my running in, but we are trying to really, like, get a run in, like, during daycare hours and then kind of shift work around as we need throughout the day, and it's been helping a lot. It's been allowing Mike and I to get some runs in together. I think our goal lately has been to do 1 early daycare drop-off a week, where then Mike and I can go out and get about, like, 90 minutes of a run in together, and it's shocking, like, what a better parent you feel after that, and what a better
Mm.
just partner and person throughout the day you feel after doing that, so I highly encourage anybody who, yeah, can lean on that a little bit, just, like, setting aside some I think it's, like, the way we do date night pretty much, even though it's date morning,
Date day.
date day.
Yeah, I mean, I think Billy and I talk about that too, obviously transitioning into that period of life and just what that's going to look like and how we share those responsibilities. But wherever you can, finding ways to still be yourself or prioritize time together
Yeah,
feels really important. And I think our generation is really aware of that. And maybe because we're all a little older, having kids or what for whatever reason, I think, I mean, we feel like we're going into it really consciously.
yeah.
I'm sure if you poll me this time next year, I'll laugh and say I knew nothing and I was naive.
Yeah.
But, I think, yeah, there's so many ways to do it, but the important thing is to just, like, carve out those moments where you can, right?
Yes, it's so true, and I think, we reside in a place where we don't have family around, but we have a big community, and it's very difficult to ask for help, but I know that there's
Mm.
so many people who are willing to help, but it just is me setting aside kind of, like, my ego and being able to delegate where needed, in order to, like, accept the help because it does mean a lot, and it is extremely helpful, and especially, like I was mentioning to you before we hit record, Mike is going to Spain for about a week, leaving tomorrow morning. And yeah,
How
it's
lovely.
yeah, it's tough to do the solo parenting gig, but just thinking about ways you can kind of like lean on those around you to, yeah, make it a little easier.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you've got that support, and that is hard for you with working and training and juggling everything with
Yeah.
Monty, but yeah, I mean, it's also the life we choose,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I
And
wouldn't trade it for
Billy's gonna be in Chamonix when I'm 35 weeks pregnant, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. You better have your phone on the whole time, buddy."
yeah, and ready to fly
So,
back fast.
yeah, like, what are you gonna do, right? Yeah. No, it's fun. I mean, I have a lot of FOMO about not being at UTMB this year, if I'm honest,
I
just,
know.
like, with you guys all running. That's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be a blast, but we'll miss you, but you'll have, yeah, much better things to look forward to.
I don't know, right around then, I'm gonna be, like, waddling around in the heat of LA summer, hiding in the air
Yeah.
conditioning, watching all the live
At
broadcasts.
least you'll have the
It's
live
gonna be my finest
broadcast
moment.
to distract
Yeah.
you.
I'm gonna watch it in every
Yeah.
language. It's gonna be great. Yeah. No, definitely a different summer for me, and I am really, like, excited I can finally share more about that, but,
Yeah,
also, it's fun to see you and Rachel on the other side and see you guys, like, crushing and I know that doesn't mean it's easy, right?
totally.
Like, that would be a disservice to
Yeah.
what you're doing.
No, I actually had this reflection on my run this evening, just feeling very grateful for how good I feel right now, and I don't think I would be feeling as good as I do if it weren't for just the slow return and respecting where I was when I was there. I think it's
Mm,
really easy during pregnancy to feel like you need to do more to, like, prove to yourself and prove to the world that I can be this, like, super active pregnant person all the way up to the end. But then life throws a lot of curveballs at you, and you have to adjust. And something I did during pregnancy was I stopped having a coach, just kind of listened to my body, and then postpartum here, I also haven't worked with a coach yet, and I'm just listening to my body and doing what feels right for me at that moment in time. And, yeah, it's probably not the most optimized training in the world, but I'm staying really healthy, and I've never loved running as much as I have.
mm.
And I think if you've been a listener for the last, like, 2 years here on the podcast, I have a love-hate relationship with running and competing and training, and I think this is, like, one of the biggest accomplishments for me is to come out of the other side of childbirth and pregnancy and just to have a fire that is stoked the way it is right now. It's huge for me.
I love that. I think that's a really important message to just listening to your body. I mean, I haven't had a coach a long time, which definitely shows in other ways. But I do think when you're going through seasons like this, just really being accountable to yourself and no one else is sort of the only way to do it. And then yeah, you don't resent it. And if you feel like running, great. And if
Yeah,
it doesn't feel good, you don't and you do other things. And it's just I think really, really it's a good way to approach it, and I think a huge part of why you and Rachel are both where you are right now
yeah,
and feeling so good, and, like, you didn't push it. I remember thinking that last year too, when I watched you both sort of navigating, and you were on different
yeah,
timelines because you ended up giving birth a little earlier than expected. But, neither one of you was in a rush to, like, ramp up,
mhm,
and you really did just sort of, like, ease into it and listen to your bodies, and I think it's super
yeah.
important.
It's such a journey, and Hill, I'm so excited for you to be on it. And I know it's been a journey for you to get here, and I'm sure our listeners can just agree in the celebration that it is for, yeah, what you're going through. It's just pinnacle. It's awesome. Hey friends, Leah here taking a quick break to shout out our favorite gear partner, Osprey. As you know, I'm training for UTMB this year. I'm going to be wearing the Osprey Dyna Pro 10-liter pack at UTMB, and I'm also be pairing it with the new Osprey Pro Dyna belt. The belt is awesome. It can stash several gels, a 500 milliliter flask. My phone has a zip pocket in the back, lots of storage capacity, especially when you pair it with the new 7 or 10-liter Pro pack. I'll be able to use the quiver that comes with this to stash my pulls in addition to all my required gear. I've been wearing it around Salt Lake City on all my long runs as I gear up for a summer of fun. There's no bounce. The pack itself has a women's specific fit, which has been awesome as I navigate my postpartum body. Check out Osprey's website for these new packs. Their pro line is amazing, and I hope you like it as much as I do.
Wrapping up here, I did want to give a shout out to the amazing ladies at Transvolcania this last weekend. I feel like in North America, we got very, I don't know, inundated with Cocodona, shall we
Inundated.
say. Inundated is the word. But Transvolcania was really cool, and I just wanted to especially give a shout out to our friend Lucy Bartholomew, who ran an amazing race, and I feel like she's been building towards this for a long time, and really put together a race that finally reflected the hard work that
Mm.
she's putting into things. And she was second place, 7 hours 49 minutes at Transvolcania, 75K. I think it's very technical
Yeah,
over there. Like it's a really hard
I think there's
race,
like a
which is
13-mile downhill to close out the race, just techie
oh
downhill,
yeah.
which
Remember Courtney saying that it just dives down to the ocean.
yes. Ugh.
Ugh.
But man, it's really cool. Yeah, it almost made me think, I mean, I know Lucy has many specialties in the sport, but dang, I just wanna see her line up at more of this distance and time. She was, like, really battling it out with Blandine out in first, and they were kind of leapfrogging first and second place for a lot of the race, and Blandine ended
They
up
were only 5 minutes apart, maybe.
yeah, and Blandine ended up setting a
Really
course
close.
record. Lucy went under the course record, just both and that was a Ruth Croft course record too, so it was
Yeah.
not a slouch.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm really stoked for her. And then also Emily Forsberg from Sweden, Killian Jornet's partner, mother of 3
Free.
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was 3rd place, and I feel like, just speaking of women that have sort of taken a different
Mm,
path, like, she went from pro athlete to having 3 kids, which is, incredible because I love that she prioritized the things that felt important to her,
mm.
and now she's announced that she's coming back to pro running, and for the next few years, she's gonna sorta double down on, just, making a go of it again, and I'm so curious because I feel like the landscape has changed a lot in the 5 years or so that she's been away from the sport, right?
Yeah, and I think my favorite stats from her race was, I think her time that she finished in was only 1 minute slower than her 2013 time at that race, which
No way.
13 years. Like, that
And
is
did she win it that
I think
year?
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Which is crazy, and then this year, Blondine went 30 minutes faster, essentially 32 minutes faster. I mean, yeah, but to her credit, she's in the mix, she's doing it, and I just, thought it was really cool that she's sort of putting it out there that she's gonna prioritize that again or that she's excited about it. And again, different timelines for everyone, right? Like, some people bounce back and get right back into it, and for some people, it's like, "No, I wanna go and, do other things with my life that feel important and then come back to it." And I often saw Emily, out on the course when Killian was doing UTMB or, she'd be out there supporting him, but also, um, I think, yeah, just interesting to see where we take running or what place it holds in our lives at different times.
Yeah, we've got so many great role models right now that it's
We do, I
inspiring.
know. It's the best, whether it's women crushing it at the front or just showing all the different ways that you can navigate, your 30s and this time of life and still sort of, keep your sanity and keep it all somewhat keep our sanity.
Somewhat,
I don't know.
sometimes.
A little loopy right now, guys. I still feel like I haven't recovered.
Yeah, you need to sleep for your own, 54 hours.
I know, yeah. I was talking to, Meg Eckert. She, had an amazing race at Cocodona, and she said she finally slept, and it was, I think just really hard after the
Mm,
race because there was so much going on. You just sorta stayed on this, upper for a long time,
yes. Mm,
And eventually that comes down.
yeah. Oof.
But this is fun. It's fun to just like catch up. Really excited to be just like heading into, I don't know, party season. Like we've got training camp and then
Then
Western
it
States a few
doesn't
weeks after
stop after
that.
that.
Doesn't stop. I will be there for Broken Arrow all the way through Western States. Leah, you're coming in for Western States,
Broken
right?
Arrow too. Broken Arrow, Western States, there
Oh,
for it all. Yeah,
yay.
so it'll be
Wonderful. And it's like a 10-day party now. It's really like kind of
I'm
crazy.
excited. I've never been to Broken Arrow, and I'm very excited to experience the energy.
Are you racing?
I am, yes.
What are you racing?
I'm signed up for the Triple Crown. So,
Oh, are
yes.
you?
So,
Well then.
we'll see. I know I definitely wanna do the 46K. The vertical race is the day before the 46K. So, I I wanna really put all, like, my eggs in the 46K basket. So maybe we'll
Mm.
see how I kind of, like, approach the weekend. So maybe I'll just be kind of, yeah, tactical about it all if I do all 3 races.
Yeah, it's interesting because on paper you're like, that's pretty good UTMB training if
Totally.
you stack that all up. But then if you actually want to be competitive and it's
Yeah,
really fun to be able to throw down a little
I know.
bit, it's like the two
That's
don't
exactly how I'm
quite go
feeling.
together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then,
Stacked fields
yeah,
too.
Mike is shooting that weekend, and then I'm like, "Okay, that means I would need childcare all 3 days as opposed to just 1."
Mhm,
So,
mhm. I mean, yeah, like the practical side of it comes in,
mhm,
right? Like,
like, life.
yeah. Just for I was actually saying we should set up some sort of a babysitting collective at races. I feel like someone would make a
Somebody would
killing,
make
just
a
sort of like
killing. I keep thinking about this.
volunteer your services,
Like,
have a
somebody
bunch of kids at the finish line. It'll be
totally. So
great.
somebody that just wants to, like, be at these races in some way, shape, or form, be at it by providing childcare. I feel like especially for
Well,
people like you and Billy, for example, you both participate in various aspects of the sport. Me and Mike were both kind of, yeah, media and photography. It's just a
oh, at
lot.
Black Canyon, you were,
Yeah.
pawning Monty off on
Emily Harris,
on
love you.
whoever. Yeah. Say whoever, but it was Dylan and Emily Harris, who are definitely not
Yeah.
whoever and are wonderful people who are also expecting a baby
Oh,
exactly 1 month after us, which is also super
that's so
fun. There's
cool.
so many babies right now. But yeah, no, babysitter and a dog sitter. I feel
Yes.
like both of those would crush.
Hey, those are good
There we
business
go.
models.
Business opportunities. You heard it here first, you guys. All right. Well, I have to go back and finish a bunch of stuff for our film. Speaking of deadlines and just life cramming right now. But this was
This was
fun.
fun,
Good to
Hill.
catch up with you, Leah.
Yes, and
Good to catch up with our
congratulations
listeners.
again, and, yeah, our listeners, check out Hill's film premiere at Western States Training Camp if you'll be around the area. I'm jealous of all you that get to experience it before I do.
raisethebarfilm.com. We'll post more stuff there too as we have more like details on different screenings and all the stuff. But yeah, thanks, guys. It's been a long road to get here, but really, really excited and feels very timely right now. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, lots to celebrate.
Lots to celebrate. All right. Until next time, friends, we'll talk to you soon.